Hey guys, welcome back and thanks for tuning in. Sorry about the weird backdrop right here. I'm actually using my car as a little bit of a wind blocker. It's insanely windy out here right now, but I've got something I want to show you that I just don't want to wait any longer to talk about. The folks over at Freedom Fighter Innovations reached out to me a short time ago after I got back from my last front sight trip. Now, for those of you that watched my front sight gear check video, the last one that I posted, you know that I talked about my Glock 17, that I used that for the class, and I complained a little bit about some of the ergonomic issues I had with the gun, holstering, drawing over and over and over through a 2-day course and what was it, 400 plus rounds, I think. During that time, I started to realize that for me and my body, for how I use my gun, I would like to have that gun be more ergonomic. And so I started looking around for folks that do slide modifications, or excuse me, frame modifications. Slide modifications are also interesting, and I'm going to talk about what Freedom Fighter Innovations does in regards to that, but the frame modifications is what I was really interested in, again, because of the ergonomic advantages that come from some of that and the changes that I felt were needed. So again, they reached out to me shortly after I got back from the trip. It was kind of this nice little mesh, this little meeting of the minds where I was like, I need it, and they're like, do you want it? And I'm like, yes, I do. So what they did was they offered to make their modifications to my Glock 17 frame so that I could have that on my gun and then be able to show it to you, report on it, and so forth. And so that's what the situation is right now. And I want to show you my Glock 17 here. I'm going to go ahead and unload it real quick. And there it is. That's my Glock 17 Gen 4, as you can see there, and here are the modifications that they made to that grip frame. All right, we're going to talk all about what they do here, why I think it's important, why I think it's useful, and why you might choose to do this as well. And also we'll cover pricing a bit and all that kind of stuff. So one more thing to touch on before we get all the way into the frame. They do slide modifications as well. I think I touched on that briefly a second ago. And their slide modifications look terrific. They do some lightning cuts, some holes that they'll put in the sides and the top if you want them. They've got basically 3 different varieties. One with no holes through it, but just lightning cuts throughout, and then some really nice serrations over the top and the sides, and altering these ones as well, and then doing an RMR cut here on the top of the gun, and then also adding an aluminum plate to fill that until you're ready to put your RMR onto your gun. So it's a pretty nice package that they offer. And again, a couple different varieties of that slide modification that all look terrific, feel terrific. I was able to get one of their guns in hand to feel both the frame modification and the slide modification, and I was really impressed. It looks terrific. They also Cerakote it. That comes in the price with the frame modification, or the slide modification, excuse me. And the cost of doing that, I'm sure their costs are going to change and evolve over time, but I'll give a little bit of a snapshot of what the website looks right now and what they're currently offering, and the current prices for those different things for both the slide and also for the frame modification. One of the really cool things that they do is they actually offer 50-50 pricing. So you can put half down up front, and then the other half paid for when the job is all done. That's pretty huge. I don't know if anybody else does that actually, but I think that's pretty awesome. So whether you're doing just the slide or the full job or just the frame, doesn't matter. You can do a 50-50 pricing, and I think that's just a sweet deal. So let's talk a little bit about, now as you can see here, I did not get the slide modifications done. That was with intent. Now, they probably would have given me a nice discount on that and hooked me up because I'm a YouTuber and all that crap. But for me, it's mostly cosmetic to do slide stuff. That's just my opinion. Yeah, I see some functionality to it, but mainly it looks ridiculously cool. So I may consider doing that in the future, but as of right now, the ergonomic change, the ergonomic advantages is what I was truly after, and that's where the grip frame modification came into play. So that's all I was really caring about right now, and that's what I went for. So let's talk a little bit about what they do with this frame modification. One of the key things is the type of stippling job they do on your grip. Okay, so what they've got here is this beautiful basket weave texture that goes all the way around the gun. As you can see there, I did just clear it, so don't worry. All the way around the gun, on the front as well. And you can also see that they got rid of my grooves. Okay, so this did have grooves in it. It was a Gen 4, had the grooves. And you may also notice they got rid of the hump right here. Now that is a new thing that they're still sort of toying with. I'm maybe one of their guinea pigs in that regard as far as this new modification. They probably aren't offering that as an option on the website yet, but they offer their phone number right there, so you can give them a call and say that you want this if you want it. I'm not sure if they've made that a standard offering yet. I hope they have, because I like it. But ask for it and see what happens. But the basket weave texture, to me, is the most beautiful frame stippling job I've ever seen. They've got this recessed border that goes all around the outside of that whole job right there, around the top, all down here, down to the front. You can see the recessed border. It's just kind of carved away into the frame ever so slightly. And that's down here at the base of the grip as well. Just finishing the whole deal off in a really, really aesthetic way. On top of that, you can see underneath the trigger guard, we've got this second cut right here with the basket weave texture. I don't know how important it is to have it right there, but it certainly looks good. I think that's just a great addition. This was one of the main issues that I had with my Glock during that course at front sight, was this little cutaway right here. That was not deep enough for me, and my knuckle, this knuckle right here, right there was getting super red and super bruised and really just uncomfortable. So having that cutaway done was key to me, and it feels marvelous now, just fantastic. And then when you wrap the second hand around there, it locks into that second cut and feels really, really nice. In addition to that, we have these sort of index points right there that they've given the texture to and cut away on the top of that to really help you catch that spot right there and know where you're at. And that is on both sides as well. So whether that's for your firing hand or your support hand, or how you're going to use it, whether you're resting your thumb up there or putting your index finger up there as a reference point when you're not in the trigger guard, excuse me. You know, those little cutaways there, or those little modifications there, really add a lot. In addition to that, just a little aesthetic thing, they did this really cool little cut right here, this little trigger guard bob that just gives it a nice little geometric shape. So just from an aesthetic standpoint, that looks really, really nice. So I did a bit of shooting with this the other day, felt great in hand. The texture of that frame is not ridiculously aggressive, okay? It's not like the new Smith & Wesson 2.0, which I've also shot a bit of. That one has actually got nearly a sandpaper kind of texture to it. Pretty rough. Not a bad thing necessarily, it locks your hand in, but I don't know how I would do drawing and holstering that gun several hours a day for 4 days. This, on the other hand, I could see this just feeling great for a long time. That basket weave just is so functional, extremely aesthetic, and I just really dig it. So like I said, guys, head over to freedomfighterinnovations.com. That's where you're going to find all the information about the slide mods, the grip mods, all the options that they offer in that regard, and the reasons that you're going to want to try to get something like this done. Have you thought about modding your Glock? Some guys really want to. Some guys don't think it ever needs to be done. As for me, I'm really glad this one was done. It feels much, much better. Around 300 bucks is what you pay for the grip alone, and having it in hand now, I can tell you I would definitely pay that much to get this work done. Hours and hours and hours of manual crafting labor to do this, that is worth the money. All right, guys, that's my review, I guess, on the Freedom Fighter Innovations grip modification. I'm Late Boy Scout. Thanks for watching. See you later.